So we saw that Arjuna takes refuge in Krishna. He says, I am your student Krishna, please guide me. I cannot think clearly, I cannot decide what to do, please help me. Now Krishna will impart the teaching to Arjuna. Before we begin with these verses, I suggest that you watch videos 1 to 10 in the series, if you haven't done so already. They are introductory videos which explain the core concepts of the Gita. We will be using these concepts to explain the verses. So if you haven't seen them, please first go and watch them, otherwise you will not understand what we are talking about. I have put the link in the description below for the introductory videos, or what you can do is just click on the channel name Atmadarshan, go on the playlist section, there you will find the Bhagavad Gita series. Just watch videos 1 to 10. Also, you should watch the video titled Study Material to know which books and websites to refer to. Now let us begin with the verse. What we will do is, we will first read the verse and the translation. Then I will explain the verse to you. My explanation will be in line with the commentary of Adi Shankaracharya. Once you have heard the explanation, then you can pause the video and go through the commentary in the book, which is purely optional, but you can do so. So let us begin. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocyan anvashocastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasoon agatasoonascha nanushocanti panditaha. Krishna said. Shri Bhagavan means Krishna, the blessed Lord, Krishna. You grieve for what is not to be grieved for, and yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise neither grieve for what is gone, nor for what is yet to go. This is the opening lines of Krishna's teaching. What he's saying is that the reason for which Arjuna is grieving is not a reason to grieve at all. Actually, Krishna is saying that in this world there is never any reason to grieve. And Arjuna needs to understand this first. Grief arises because of ignorance. Remember this. We are ignorant of reality, and we take the world of appearances as the reality. We take this mithya jagat as the reality. We think that what is happening is all really real. That is what makes us grieve. So grief is rooted in ignorance. So Krishna says that on one hand you are grieving, and on the other hand you're trying to give all kinds of wise reasonings. What you don't understand is that if this situation is overpowering you so much and making you grieve and give up your duty, then you are not being wise at all. You are only showing your ignorance. It is like a child crying about a bad dream. What happens in the dream seems so real, and it affects us and makes us feel all kinds of emotions, right? But actually, it is not real. It is only an experience which loses its meaning when you wake up. Similarly, here, when we are living in this world, we must remember that this is not really real. And so there is no need to feel so weak and overpowered by situations. Then what should we do? Should we ignore everything because it is not real? No. Gita says no. It may not be real, but at the same time, it is also not unreal. It is mithya. Remember the concept of mithya from the introductory videos? Mithya is somewhere between real and unreal. It is experienced, and therefore it is not completely unreal. It is the vyavaharika level. Therefore, all we have to do is play our role, perform our duty. When you can perform your duty without being overpowered by the situations, without feeling weak, then you begin to grow internally. You begin to rise from the world of appearances to the knowledge of the truth. And if you don't do so, then you remain feeling like a victim of circumstances, always asking, why is this happening to me? You will continue to feel trapped by circumstances. How do you become free? By reminding yourself that you are actually free. This is a mere appearance. It is not really real. Nor is this individual jiva really real. So why should I feel trapped? You will feel free and light, and you will be able to perform the required action, the required duty, if you understand this. And all of this is a preparation that each one of us must undergo if we want to achieve liberation, moksha. Krishna says, Gata soon agata soonascha nanushochanti pandita. The wise do not grieve for the living or the dead, for that which is gone or that which is yet to go. The wise do not get affected by anything. They know that all of this is only an appearance. Everything is changing every moment. The universe is unfolding according to the natural laws. Some things come, some things go. That is the natural course of things. There is no reason to grieve over what is gone. And all that is here will also go ultimately. We know this. Even the ignorant knows this. So why grieve? Why grieve over something which is inevitable? And this applies to everything in life. We grieve over what we don't have. We grieve over our losses. We keep thinking about the past and craving for it to come back. And what we have right now, we feel insecure about it. We fear losing it. So we are grieving for what we have. We are grieving for what we don't have. For someone who is so deeply deluded by the mithya world, there is always a reason to grieve. But for the one who knows the truth, there is never a reason to grieve. There is never a reason to grieve. He always feels free and easy. This is what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna. Now, does this mean that one should never feel sad? Does it mean that the wise person never feels sad at all? Or does it mean that sadness is a bad emotion? Suppress all sadness? No. All of this is not the intention here. It is okay to feel sad. But it is not okay to forget your responsibilities because of the sadness. Moreover, the focus of the verse is to point out that everything is temporary. And so we needn't feel too overwhelmed by loss. Now, since sorrow has its roots in ignorance, Krishna tries to break Arjuna's ignorance through the following couple of verses. Natve vaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam tah param. Very interesting verse. There was never a time when I did not exist, Arjun, or you, or these kings. And never will there be a time in future when we shall cease to exist. You see, Arjuna was grieving because he could not imagine killing people like Bhishma and Drona. He felt he would not be able to do this or to live with their blood on his hands. But this way of thinking implies that he was deeply deluded. He was considering the body as the reality. He considered Bhishma to be one body standing there, Drona to be another body standing there, and himself to be a third body standing there. He considered this understanding of the world as correct. But is it so? No. All these bodies are mithya, just names and forms, having no being of their own. They are constantly changing. Even as Arjuna speaks, everything is changing. There is only an appearance of continuity which makes it seem like it is also real. But actually it is all mithya. They all have their being in pure consciousness. We have seen how this is so in the introductory videos. So the truth of it all is the one eternal and unchanging pure consciousness, the Atma. And it will always be there. So Krishna is trying to lift Arjuna out of his delusion through these lines. He says that if you look at all of us from the Paramarthika point of view, from the viewpoint of the absolute truth, then there was never a time when I was not there, or you were not there, or these kings were not there. Nor will there ever be such a time. Because what are we all really? We are the eternal Atma. But if you look at all of this from the Vyavaharik point of view, then of course you will think they have a beginning and an end. Now someone may ask here, does this kind of reasoning justify killing? No. Again, that is not the intention here. The intention is only to make Arjuna break out of his deep delusion. When someone is too caught up in a situation, he considers it as completely real. He is unable to have any other view of the situation. The idea here is to give him another view of the situation. It tries to make Arjuna think beyond names and forms and acknowledge that there can be another way of looking at all this. The next verse explains this a bit more. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar prapti dhiras tatra namoyati. Just as the embodied Atma remains unchanged in this body through childhood, youth, and old age, similarly, it receives another body unchanged. This being so, the wise do not get deluded. The previous verse may have left Arjuna wondering, what is Krishna talking about? How can we always be there? I was born and I will die, and so will all these people. How can Krishna say that they will always be there? So this verse kind of tries to explain it in a simple indicative manner. Krishna is saying that this body is always changing. We may not realize it from day to day, from moment to moment, but actually it is changing every moment. We see the change only over a period of time: childhood, adulthood, old age. We see the changes in this manner. But actually the body is changing every second. Now, does this mean that the self or I also changes with every change in body? We say I am body. So if body changes, my I should also change, right? But is that really so? Remember when we were analyzing the body in our intro videos, We saw how this body is nothing but constantly changing particles, and these particles are constantly originating and dying. Does the self also originate and die with every change? The answer is no. The self, which is pure consciousness, remains unchanged. It remains constant throughout all the changes. You see, the self exists. We can never doubt the fact that the self exists, right? And something which exists, something which is, something which is real, must be permanent, must be unchanging. Only then can we say that it is, it exists, it is real. That is how we defined Satyam. So the self necessarily must be unchanging. And that is why Krishna is saying that the self, which is not affected by childhood, adulthood, old age, it is also not affected by birth and death of the body. That is why Krishna said that there was never a time when Arjuna was not there, or these kings were not there, nor will there be such a time. Because the true self or Atma is not this body. This is the meaning. Now, let's move on to the next verse. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agam apayino anityah tantitikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, the contact of senses with their respective objects cause heat, cold, pleasure, pain. They arise and resolve. They are impermanent. Endure them, O Bharata. King Bharat was one of Arjuna's ancestors, and therefore Arjuna is called Bharata, being the descendant of Bharat. So this verse is also very interesting and very meaningful. One can say that, okay, I accept that the body is not the self. Okay. But I still feel various sensations. I still feel various emotions on a day-to-day basis. I feel pleasure, pain on a day-to-day basis. They may not be real, but they are being experienced right now. How should I deal with them? This is answered in this verse. Matra sparsha. The word matra actually, matra refers to the tanmatras. Tanmatra is the 5 senses: sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch. when they come in contact with their respective sense objects, then there is a natural outcome as per the laws of nature. If I touch a hot object, I will feel pain. This is a natural phenomenon. But now imagine touching something hot on a cold winter night. Then it would be a very pleasurable touch, right? The sense and the sense object is the same, but the resultant feeling has changed. This shows that pleasure and pain are relative. Things that give pleasure today may give pain tomorrow, and vice versa. Today you may like something about your spouse, but you may hate the same thing in future. And today you may hate something about your spouse, and years later you may love the same thing. It happens all the time. Someone finds living in a particular city painful, excruciating. I cannot live here. The same person in the same city at another time loves living there. So pleasure, pain, likes and dislikes, they are relative. They are of an uncertain nature. They are not absolute. So we cannot depend upon them to make any decisions in life. We simply have to let them arise and resolve. Let them arise and let them resolve. They arise on their own and they resolve also on their own. When their cause is present, they will arise. When it is not present, they will not arise. A lot of times, we are not even aware of all the causes. So just let them come and go. Don't be disturbed by them. Don't lose your calm. Don't lose your way because of some temporary highs and lows. So Krishna's advice to Arjuna is Titikshasva Bharata. Titiksha. Titiksha means endurance, forbearance. You must endure both pleasure and pain. But it is not a grudging kind of an endurance. It is a peaceful one. You can peacefully bear them only if you understand this fact about them, that they are relative and temporary. You see, at every step, Krishna is giving a proper reasoning, a proper, logic to everything. The student must note these reasonings. And the idea is that if you understand the reasoning, then you don't have to do anything else. Everything else will happen on its own. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, I have to be endurant. I have to endure pleasure and pain. No. You have to simply understand how they are relative and temporary. Today, I may find it pleasurable. Tomorrow, I may find the same thing painful. So I cannot base my decisions on this temporary and relative feeling. Simple. You give yourself this understanding and the rest will follow. The mind demands reason, and Krishna has provided those reasons. Right? Now, one may question, okay, but what will I get by being so enduring? What will I get by listening to Krishna? This is answered now. Yam hi na vyathantete purusha rishabha sam dukkha sukham dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. He becomes fit for Amrit, immortality. O Arjuna, certainly the person whom these do not torment, whom these pleasure and pain do not torment, do not disturb, the wise who is equal-minded towards pleasure and pain, sama dukkha sukham, he is fit for immortality. So amritatvaya kalpate. Immortality, this idea has to be understood here. It means moksha or liberation. You see, the word immortality here may come across as very strange, because you may wonder, how can I become fit for immortality just by enduring pleasure and pain? Right? So we have to understand this idea. As I have mentioned throughout this video and earlier also, we are not the body. We are the eternal, pure consciousness, Atma. Atma, which is eternal, which is immortal. So actually, we are already immortal. If we talk about the real me, then I'm already immortal. But the tragedy is that we consider ourselves as mortal. We consider ourselves as this mortal body-mind complex and nothing more. And this is our ignorance. And this ignorance is the root cause of all our suffering. To overcome our suffering, we have to overcome ignorance. We have to know ourself. So, liberation, moksha from suffering can be achieved only when we liberate ourselves from the ignorance, when we know ourselves. So self-knowledge is what is moksha all about. Self-knowledge. Knowing yourself is what is required. But this self-knowledge cannot be gained just like that. That today I decide to get it and I just read a few verses of the Gita and I get it. It does not happen like that. It is the knowledge of oneness of all and everything. How all of it is one, undivided, pure consciousness. And that is who I am. I am limitless. I am eternal. I am immortal. To know something so profound, we must have a mind capable enough to know it. But what kind of a mind do we have right now? A mind which is a slave to our desires, to our likes and dislikes, to pleasure and pain. It considers itself so limited by everything, limited by one's own emotions, one's own likes and dislikes, limited by circumstances, everything. How can such a mind know that I am limitless? It can never know unless it is made fit to know that truth. And how do we make it fit? By performing our duties towards others at every step of life, without being swayed by desires, without being swayed by emotions. This is the necessary preparation. This will help us rise out of our sense of limitation and imbibe oneness with the world around us. We will delve more deeply into these ideas at a later stage. But for now, understand that this is why Krishna asks Arjuna to endure the emotions and perform his duty. We will continue with the verses in the next video.